Hi, I'm Pete Larkin, and welcome to a BBC College special presented by London Wavelength and On Music and Media magazine. This week we'll hear music and conversation with one of rock's most controversial pioneers, Gary Numan. And now, Dallas correspondent George Jimmark.
With the album Replicas, it almost seems you took on the persona of the Mac Man.
Really, I only had that character for that one album. It stayed around the live situation a bit longer, and it was developed and made very, very slick. And in the end, it became too slick, and it was like a second-rate Star Wars. And that's all it became. It became a bit embarrassing, became a bit of a joke, which is why another reason why I pulled out, because I needed to change all that. And I wasn't interested in it anymore. I was being made to sing about machines, and I wasn't interested in machines anymore. And everyone kept saying that I wrote futuristic albums, and I didn't. Replicas was a futuristic album. Pleasure Principle wasn't. It had one or two songs in it which are left over from the Replicas period, which were futurist. And like, as soon as I got into Telecon, the next album, it wasn't at all. And yet it was still considered to be like, they give it some silly titles.
I guess people get stuck on whenever they hear a synthesizer. Oh, future music.
Yeah, I think that was a problem actually. It was the instrument which people were reviewing rather than the music, which is unfortunate, but that's a problem if you're early on in something, I suppose.
Replicas also gave you your first hit record, Our Friends Electric.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, you're on the old gray whistle test and Top of the Pops and all that.
Yeah.
Was that a bit of a shock?
It was a bit sudden. 1 week, like a Monday, I was nothing. I'd never been written about in the papers. I hadn't been on stage for about 18 months at all. And then the Tuesday we found out we was doing this television show. And then a week later we was number 20. And about a month later we'd been number 1 for about 4 weeks. And it was from nowhere to something literally overnight. The fastest rise to success I've ever known amongst anyone. Took me by surprise a little bit.
Did you have to suddenly alter your lifestyle?
No, because the lifestyle doesn't change quickly. Not really. There's no money at the door instantly. That takes a long time to come. There's the occasional limousine turns up to take you somewhere. And all of a sudden you're doing TV all the time, where before you was just sitting in the front room on your piano, and that's all. Or you'll catch a train up to London, and they send a Rolls Royce to pick you up, and that was different. But it's surprisingly how quickly you accept things when they're good. And it's also surprising how badly you accept things when they're bad. Like when you lose money, it's very, very hard. But when you're getting it like that, then it's very easy to just... Well, I found it very easy to stay like relatively normal, not to be affected by it, because I'd always expected it. And as far as I'm concerned, it was just something that was always going to happen. And that's probably conceited, but I think if you don't feel that way, then you don't make it.
now I'm alone. Now I can think for myself about little deals and issues, things that I just don't understand. I can white light at night, or it's like touch at times. I don't think I mean anything to you. And I'm lonely, but I should never have tried. And I missed you tonight, so it's time to leave. You see, I mean everything to me.
Our Friends Electric. It's like an old friend this. I don't do it on the stage show anymore because it doesn't really fit into the present style that I like, the funk style. It's very hard to adapt to a funk style, but it is a song that started everything, that caused everything, and that made everything, and it is like an old friend.
Did you get along with Fame?
I don't know. I got along with Rich. I got along with money. I don't know if I got along with being famous. I don't think I like being famous. It goes against my character. Recognition and stuff like that.
You're a rather shy individual at heart.
I'm damn near antisocial, actually. More than shy. I don't go out. I don't mix. I do my things with my few select people that are around me, and that's it. Very, very close to my family, and I don't like intrusion.
Up to 1979, your third LP in 12 months.
Yeah, I was busy that year.
Yeah, you were living in the studio, weren't you?
I was living at home. The first album took 4 days, the Replicas took 5 days, and Pleasure Principle took 11 days.
You make it sound so easy.
I don't see why it has to take any longer. I think when you spend 6 weeks doing rhythm tracks, or 6 days, I heard some band doing a drum sound, then I think you're verging on ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't honestly believe that a listener is going to be able to tell the difference after 6 days for a drum sound.
And there's some bands that will write their tunes in the studio.
Yeah, but even that, I mean, I did that on the last album, on the very latest album, because I wasn't there. I was flying around the world before, and so the whole thing was written and recorded in about 2.5 months, and that was in my own studio, so I could afford to relax a bit and just go at a slow pace.
How do you write songs?
It's like building a skeleton, then filling in the gaps, just like that. I start with a drum machine, simply for timekeeping purposes, and then I just make it up as I go along. And I write nearly everything on a Yamaha CB30 electric piano now. I used to write it on an acoustic piano at home, but it's got beyond repair.
We've got to mention this record, your giant hit here in the States. I guess it was your one shot on the air, briefly in '79, was Cars. Where here in my car I feel safest, and it's just kind of like my home on wheels, or my home, period.
I prefer to think of it as a tank. It's the only thing I felt safe in. I don't walk anywhere. Very rarely do I walk out. I'm nervous when I'm out, when I'm not in my car. Or when I'm in a car, I mean, I got a Ferrari now, for the sole reason that it goes faster than the Corvette, because then it can get me away from trouble quicker.
Do you feel vulnerable being in a small car, though?
No. Makes you feel like I'm in a fighter. And if anything happens, it can get me away at 190 miles an hour.